firstly, we're very happy that finally we're going to start playing. It's been a while since we've been here. Secondly, look, injuries are a part of the game, and these things can't be predicted. And I'm sure any team that gets hit with injuries is never a good thing, but still, South Africa is a very talented, very dangerous side on their day. And even with the replacements, they would be a very strong side. So we never take anyone lightly, and whether a few key players get injured or not, if a youngster is stepping in and he has the right mindset, he can really perform on the day. So I think we need to maintain respect for that and really approach the game focusing on our strengths and what we can do as a side.
Finally, you said we starting to play. How does that work? I mean, South Africa playing their third game, India playing its first. Most teams have played two. How do you approach that? Does that work? Does that work for you? Is that a problem? Is that an advantage that you've seen some of the other teams? How do you look at that?
Well, I think it's a bit of an advantage, I would say, in terms of understanding how the games have gone, what the conditions have to offer, what the overcast conditions bring into play. When the sun's out, it's a totally different ball game altogether. What the conditions are at 10:30 in the morning compared to afternoon, and what is the pace of play when you see other teams playing, and what the approach is. So I think from that point of view, we have a lot to absorb. We have a lot to learn from, looking at the other teams play, the teams that have done well, what have they done well, in what phases. So yeah, I think from that point of view, we would say that we have a lot of positives that we can take out of starting, after everyone else. And yeah, look, whether a team has played before or not, it really wouldn't matter on the day. It depends on how the side turns out, what kind of mental setup they have. And as I mentioned, we would have to be mentally and skillfully stronger than the opposition, whoever we play, to win on the day. So I think our focus will be that.
Virat, I just want to know how Kedar Yadav has been shaping up. He has been practicing, and after Ravindra Jadeja's performance in the two warm-up games, what do you think about the spin combination with three quality spinners? So what do you think about it?
Look, we selected a side that gives us all kinds of options, depending on the conditions that we're going to play in. Somewhere you might see three seamers playing, somewhere you might see two wrist spinners, somewhere you might see a wrist spinner and a finger spinner playing together. So that's why we said we probably selected the most balanced side we could have selected. And Kedar's doing well. Kedar's back to full fitness. Kedar's batting in the nets now, and he's hitting the ball well. So it's always nice to have him back in the mix because of the variety he brings into the side. Jadeja has been outstanding as well, understanding his abilities fully, really grabbing all the opportunities that have come his way, especially in Test cricket also. The way he's batting with a lot of maturity now is a great sign for the team. So whenever he steps into the team, we know we have a guaranteed template of performance that Jadeja brings to the side, in the field with the ball and with the bat as well. So I think we have all our options covered. Looking at the pitch now, we will have discussions over what the balanced combination would be, but I think we are equipped to handle all kinds of conditions here.
Virat, here. Hi. This is your third World Cup, but the first World Cup as the captain of the Indian team. How does it feel leading India into the World Cup?
Well, it's a matter of great pride for me, honestly. Playing 2015 World Cup, I never imagined this day, because a World Cup is too far off, to think or predict anything. So I think I'm just feeling grateful that I'm in this position to have the opportunity to lead my country in a tournament like World Cup. It's always going to be a time to remember and a very, very special feeling. So I'm really looking forward to the challenge. It's a different kind of responsibility. You need to be able to absorb a lot more. So I think from that point of view, it's something that is really exciting me to have this kind of a challenge at this stage in my career.
Virat, what have you made of the first week of the tournament from the sidelines, and also what lessons do you take from the Champions Trophy, which was here 2 years ago?
Lessons from the Champions Trophy, I think the lesson is basically to play the cricket that we know how to play. We didn't try anything drastically different in the Champions Trophy. We just stuck to our strengths, and in the final a better side beat us. But we have plugged a few areas that we needed to. Since then we brought in wrist spinners to take wickets in the middle overs, and that's been the reason for a lot of our success in the last couple of years. So from that point of view, I think we are an even stronger side when you compare the Champions Trophy side. And I think the first week has been a gradual sort of a progress, I would say. A couple of really exciting games, a couple of one-sided games. But there's a lot to learn in terms of composure. I think the teams that have been more composed are the ones that are, winning games and have better chances of doing well in pressure situations. The teams that try a bit too much or, make bad decisions are the ones who are suffering. And that's the kind of pressure the World Cup brings. So, as I said, we need to bring all our experience to the play tomorrow to be able to take right decisions under pressure situations compared to the opposition. And as I said, the team that makes better decisions is invariably going to win in a high pressure tournament like the World Cup.
Virat, you played with
Sorry.
Virat, you played with Dale Steyn at RCB just a couple of weeks ago. What shape was he in? How was he bowling? And how are you sad that he's gone home from the World Cup?
Yeah, I'm really feeling bad for Dale because he looked really happy. He was bowling really well, and then suddenly we find out that he's not gonna be able to continue. So I feel bad for him because he's been a friend for a long time, and he's a very motivated guy. He's been very happy to come back and play for South Africa. He's been doing really well, and he has that hunger and passion in him still. But those niggles and injuries are just not going his way, and I can understand his frustration about that. I wish him a speedy recovery, but yeah, I mean, of what I saw of him, he was looking in a great mental space. He was very happy. He was enjoying his cricket, bowling really well, getting along with everyone. So I can understand he must be feeling gutted, and I'm feeling bad for him, actually.
Virat, hi. Of course, the World Cup has started, but what is this day, the day before India's World Cup campaign begins, what does it feel like for you personally? You've experienced it a couple of times in 2011 and 2015, but is it any different to say, the start of a big test series in England or Australia? What does this day feel like?
Honestly, for me, I have this feeling before every game that I play, honestly, and I can't differentiate. It's, yes, if you just say the word World Cup, it brings a different kind of a feeling to your mind and heart. But I don't think. But apart from that, when you step onto the field as a cricketer, you really think like you're stepping into a World Cup game. Eventually, you go and play the game of cricket, and that excitement and anticipation and bit of nerves is the right combination that I've always had before every game that I play. 2011, 2015, similar kind of, butterflies in the stomach. Even when you're walking into play in a test match and you're walking in at 10 for 2, you have the same kind of butterflies in your stomach. So I think that is a very consistent factor. And when that starts going down, you know what comes next. So I'm just glad that it's gone on and it's going on. And I'm just feeling excited, anticipation, and a bit of nerves as well, which is always good for any sportsman to have. So, yeah, it's pretty similar, I would say, to the past.
Virat, you began the 2011 World Cup with a century in the first game. 15, another century in the first game. Pressure on you because people are also talking about a century here in the first game.
Look, when you perform and you perform for a long time, expectations are always going to be there, and I sort of understood how to go along with the expectations rather than saying, I'm not. You actually don't go out there to prove anything to anyone, which is a fact. But you have to accept that expectations are going to be there. When I walk out to bat, come down the stairs, people are going to say, we need 100, and all those kind of things will happen. So. For me, that's just a part of the process now. It's not something that I don't want to hear, or something that I think people should not tell me, because when you do well, people obviously want to see you do well again and again because they want to see the team win. So my focus is, again, if I'm in a position to be able to do that again, but more importantly, make the team win. That will be my goal, and if it takes 100 runs, 150, 50, 60, 70, 40, whatever it is, I'm ready to do that, and I think that's the frame of mind I'm going to be in.
Virat, 10:30 start, and obviously there's so much talk about conditions which keep changing throughout the duration of a day. So what are the challenges of arriving at the right combination, especially the bowling combination, when you sit down at the start of the match to decide?
Well, look, if the conditions offer you a lot in terms of the pitch, yeah, a cloud cover is, we know it's a very, very different situation in England when there's a cloud cover and when there's sun out. With two new balls, if the pitch has something to offer, then, an extra seamer comes into the play big time. But even on a good pitch, on a batting friendly pitch with two new balls, I foresee at least the first 10 overs to be still challenging if there's a cloud cover, because we're playing in England and the ball tends to do a bit more than any other place in the world. So I think it will definitely be challenging starting at 10:30 in the morning for the batsmen. And that's something that we've discussed and we've recognized how to go about it. What are the plans, heading into being a bit more solid in that particular phase. And from the bowling point of view as well, even if we play with two spinners, two seamers or three seamers, they are going to be in the game in the first half if we start at 10:30. So I think the dynamics will change from morning to afternoon big time, and the bowlers will have to adapt very quickly to that.
We'll be taking final few questions. Yeah. Virat, can you talk about the growth as a captain since 2017 World Cup? I ask only because I don't know if you would agree, World Cups define the legacies of a captain. Do you think this will be your toughest assignment as a captain?
Yeah, looking at the length of the tournament and the format of the tournament, yes, it will be tough for any captain, including myself. Playing 9 games, it's a long tournament. You're playing every side once, and you have to think on your feet. You have to adapt very quickly. It's not a bilateral or you're not playing, a team twice where you can play them once and plan again and come back and play again. So you have to be precise. You have to think on your feet. On that day, make good decisions and stay ahead of the 8 ball. So from that point of view, yes, it will be a very, very challenging tournament, and as I said, something that I'm really looking forward to. Look, I mean, it's very gradual. I mean, the errors you would make when you're not that aware of game situations, they will slowly start to taper off as you play more and more cricket. So I think what happens also is when you have experienced people in your team who have also grown with you as cricketers, eventually you all start making good decisions. You have discussions, you think of the right things. Sometimes instinctively I would want to do something which I will stick to. Sometimes you go and discuss. So I think it's important to find the right balance. No one can make all good decisions or right decisions all the time. So important to try and make the right decision, but own up to your mistakes and accept the errors as well. So, which I think gradually with time, everyone sort of understands that process well, which also is happening to me slowly.
We'll have 3 questions in English followed by Hindi.
Yeah, during the Australian series in January, during the Australian series, you had said where we erred was overs between 30 to 40, especially when you're batting first, we are not getting the 20 to 30 runs more. So that probably comes down to your number 4 and number 5. So what are your plans and how are you addressing that 30 to 40 and your number 4, number 5? Because you identified them slightly later than ideally. What are the communication you're given to is KL, Rahul or whoever, but that 30 to 40 and number 4.
Look, from a batting group point of view, it'll be very important to understand which guy is on a roll on that particular day, and the other guy has to play second fiddle. I mean, that acceptance has to be there when you're playing for a team goal. You can't try and match a guy who's striking at 120 if you're not striking it as well. So you need to be able to rotate strike and play in a partnership, and that's what partnership's all about. And then if the other guy gets out or you get out, then you sort of understand and switch roles if need be. So I think that's going to be key in the World Cup. I don't think 30 to 40 is going to be such a big factor in a tournament like the World Cup, because if you try and accelerate too much, people are losing 5-6 wickets in a bunch. So I think the teams that play more solid cricket in the middle overs, if the pitch allows you to score at 7-8 and over, that's a different thing. But if the pitch is not as batting friendly, and if you try and take advantage of 30 to 40 and you lose 4 wickets, then you're out of the game anyway. I think the team that plays more solid cricket, more percentage cricket, are the ones who are going to go a long way in the tournament and have better chances to succeed. And as I said, it boils down to making good decisions with the bat and with the ball.
Kagiso Rabada had some disparaging comments about you personally. I don't know if you saw them. And how do you use that as motivation for your battle against him? And now with Dale and Lungiangiri out, are you looking to target KG tomorrow as the main strike bowler?
What did he say? I have no idea.
He said that you were immature. I think it was in the context of the IPL and your battles with him.
Well, I've played against Kagi so many times, and I think if anything needs to be discussed, we can discuss it man to man. I'm not using a press conference to, answer anything or anything.
Okay, well, on to the second question. With Lungi, Ngidi out.
Look, whether Ngidi plays or Stain plays or not, Rabada is always going to be a world-class bowler and a threat to any side he plays against, because he has the kind of passion and he has the kind of skill set that he can, on his day, go through any batting order. So we played well against him in the past, and that's only been because we've been respectful of his skills, but at the same time we've been assured and sure of what we want to do as batsmen. So I think against guys like Rabada, who are on their day, as I said, can turn up and bowl outstandingly well, you have to be respectful but have that self-belief in yourself as well, and that balance will be very crucial. Whether he plays with Dale and Ngidi or by himself, he's always going to be a skillful bowler. So we always need to respect that and then find ways of scoring against him.
Virat, you have spoken about the importance of wrist spin going in this tournament. So specifically, how are you seeing the progress of Kuldeep following that horrible outing in the IPL? Do you think the second spell he bowled in the warm-up game against Bangladesh when he took 3 for 22 is going to be very important for his confidence?
Look, personally, I would tell you something. I've had great IPL seasons, and I've entered playing for the country, and I felt like, I feel like I'm just gonna dominate this tournament so much, and then you can't put bat to ball. So every tournament, every game that you play has no connection to what you've done in the past. You can only take out the positives and the learnings and take it to the next tournament or game that you play. And whether you've done well in the IPL or you haven't, you still have to work hard. And to me, IPL has no connection to the World Cup. Mentally, skill-wise, yes, if you've played well, you want to stay in the same zone, probably look to do the same things. But he's a guy who's done so well in the last 2 years. I don't think 3-4 games of a T20 tournament will do anything to harm his confidence or hamper his confidence. We know when he pitches the ball in the right areas, the batsman has to make better decisions, otherwise, you're walking out. So that's been his strength. And he's back to bowling at his best. We saw that in the second game. In the nets, he's bowling really well, attacking the stumps all over again. His variations are spot on. He's pitching the ball in the right area. So I see batsmen having to take better decisions against Kuldeep rather than the other way around.
Just before the start of the tournament, when all the captains met, I don't know whether you made that comment very seriously or not, that England is capable of scoring 500 runs. And we have so far seen that 300 plus runs is almost a must. So have you discussed this matter with your teammates that any target have you given that 350 we have to reach for any game?
Look, as I said, if the pitch allows you to do that, you will want that 20-30 run advantage. But if the pitch doesn't allow you to do so, I think we'll have to respect the conditions also, which will be a very, very crucial factor. We can't say just because a few games have been high scoring that we need to go out and necessarily get 350. If the pitch demands us to get solid 260, 270, 280 or just get to 300 with our bowling attack, we know with our bowling attack, any score is defendable with the kind of skill set that we have. And that's the kind of belief we have in our side. So we don't necessarily need to look at any other side. Based on the conditions, if you look at the last game, Pakistan got close to 350 and England couldn't chase it. So it's not like, Pakistan couldn't get 350. Only England got 350. So any team is capable of scoring big. It only depends on the kind of wicket you're playing at. So I think that will be a thing that we need to assess quickly.
And that 500 runs that you mentioned
Well,
in England,
it's quite possible. Why not? They've gone past 400. I don't know what the highest score was. I don't know the number. But I doubt we'll see that in the World Cup, to be honest, because, as I said, pressure is a big factor. But maybe in future, who knows? I mean, you see crazy things happening in cricket. Who imagined, 400 plus in a 50-over game ever? So, yeah, anything can happen in this sport. It's only evolving, and there'll be a lot of surprises in future, I think. Well, I think the flexibility would matter in the bowling setup is how we foresee things. The batting lineup will have to be consistent because in a long tournament, guys who get into a groove or guys who you think can win you games and they haven't got off to the starts that we want them to, they'll probably get there at some stage. But I think with matchups in terms of playing against if they're more left-handers, then the bowling combination can alter a little bit, which we have discussed in the team. That's why we've kept a team that has balance, and we want to be very flexible in terms of what we play as a bowling combination on the day, and everyone's mentally ready to make a mark. So that sort of message has been given within the team, and guys have accepted it. They understand that they will have to play certain roles at different stages in the tournament, and I think that flexibility is going to be crucial. It's going to be key because you can't be rigid in what you want to do as a bowling group and then do everything accordingly against every opposition. So I think we'll have to be flexible in terms of who we play against whom.